Hello and welcome to Ward Talk, CTN's look at the political scene in Ann Arbor. I'm your host, Bonnie Gabowitz. We'll be discussing issues and solutions with the City Council members from our 5 wards each month. Joining us this month is Mayor Christopher Taylor. Welcome, Mayor, and you've been here as mayor for many years. How many years has it been?
So I've been mayor since 2014, so a little bit now.
And you were also on the council before that, right?
That's correct. So I was elected to city council first in 2008, and then representing the 3rd ward, and then mayor since 2014.
And how long have you actually been living in Ann Arbor?
I came to Ann Arbor for college in 1985. Left for 4 or 5 years in the middle of it all. So
you came back like many graduates.
Yeah,
did.
We were in Boston and had great jobs and friends and a little young family, but it was never going to be home in the way that Ann Arbor was.
Yeah, well, but you didn't pick up a Boston accent, though.
No, there's no Boston accent.
Because I have a little bit of a Boston accent.
Yeah, no, my linguistic node is secure.
Yeah, good. Well, let's get started with talking about the present news right now,
Sure.
which is urgent, is what's happening in our local communities with the immigration and the ICE patrols coming in.
Yeah.
And I understand there are certain limitations that you can have as a leader of the city as to what they can do and what they can't do. And I noticed you were on the Detroit News last night trying to clarify. Tell us what the difference between public and private places are in terms of where ICE patrols can go.
Yeah, so we already have in Ann Arbor a strong resolution of non-compliance, of non-cooperation, and that dates all the way back from 2017 when I was mayor during the first administration. And that resolution will be reaffirmed. We don't cooperate, we don't honor administrative detainer requests, only warrants, etc. We're going to go a little further than that. With our resolution on Monday, and prohibit access for all civil immigration enforcement purposes from non-public city property. That is to say, parking lots and the like where we restrict access, where you can't use that as a staging area or an operations area, and you can't go to non-public areas of city buildings. So you, as a member of public, you come into City Hall, you expect to be able to, to go to the counter and get your work done, pay your taxes, get your permit, get your license. But you also know that you can't go behind the counter. You can't go up to the offices where the attorneys are. You can't go backstage at the police station.
But they can walk through the front door. They can walk through the front door.
We do not have we are not legally permitted to restrict that access.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So what about libraries then?
Well, first off, libraries are not run by the City of Ann Arbor. The libraries are run by the Library Board of Trustees.
Uh-huh.
The library district, it's the Ann Arbor area. It's the Ann Arbor District Library, but it expands beyond the boundaries of Ann Arbor. The townships, some areas of the various townships, vote on the Ann Arbor district, but that's run by those trustees, entirely separate from the City of Ann Arbor.
Well, that's good to clarify.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I understand there are some organizations that are supporting immigrants who need information or need support. Are any of them connected to the actual city offices, or are they all independent?
Yeah, those are all independent agencies, and I'm just so glad and grateful that folks are out there doing this, working hard to let people know what their rights are, provide mutual aid. That's done from an NGO perspective. And
have you run into any problems where it was hard to come to a solution with any of these people coming in and approaching people who were just walking around?
I mean, we as a city are not able to prevent federal agents from coming into the City of Ann Arbor and purporting to enforce civil immigration laws. That's not something that we can stop. It is ongoing. It happens, in neighboring jurisdictions. It does happen to Ann Arbor, and what you can see in Minneapolis is just, from my perspective, disgraceful. You have masked men in the streets. the beatings of protesters, indiscriminate pepper spray, honestly murder from my perspective. And well, it's un-American, and it's anything but law enforcement. It is designed to sow fear and chaos, and that's what's going on here.
And I understand locally we have groups of people who are demonstrating and planning to go out with their signs and be ready to stand together as a group.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Ann Arbor's quite vocal about where they stand.
I think that's exactly right. I mean, in Ann Arbor, we are we're a welcoming community. We know that no story of American greatness is complete without immigrants, at its center, about their their strength, their courage, their skill, their hard work, and their optimism. We know that they're a part of us, and we are, I think, very united as a community, against the indiscriminate, violence, mass men in the streets. It's serious times for our country, and we recognize that here.
So does the city, just one last question.
No, that's okay.
Does the city have any public position or advice as to what to do if they, like these children are walking home from school, or they're at a bus stop? Are there any guidelines as to how the city is involved in advising people?
Yeah, well, the city doesn't have any role in the immigration enforcement, and so basically, it is even though it is unjust, it remains against the law to actively obstruct federal agents who are purporting to affect civil immigration enforcement. Well, I think that's a criminal. You're subject to criminal liability for that, and so that's serious. At the same time, the right to protest, the First Amendment, is real, and people can protest in a way that does not constitute interference, does not constitute obstruction. Take video, because we all know that federal officials are going to lie up and down the line about what's going on the streets, and the only way to counterbalance that is with the truth.
So I think it's important that you relay what your limitations are as a city.
That's right.
That you can't just go in and tell them what to do.
Yeah,
so that's very frustrating.
It is.
And concerning.
The supremacy clause is real. The city is a jurisdiction that's subordinate to the state, that's subordinate to the federal government. We respect the rule of law here in the city of Ann Arbor. And that means that the federal agents can do can enforce federal law, but the rule of law goes both ways.
Right.
We have rights to control our property. We have rights to ensure that our resources are not commandeered. Where we have the ability under law to refuse to cooperate, we're absolutely going to do so.
And how are you relating to the county and the state? Is there any communication with the Washtenaw County and the state in terms of discussing, how things are happening?
Yeah, I mean, we've had, like I said, we've had our resolution on since 2017. The county passed a resolution just a week or two ago with respect to county property. We're going to pass a resolution with respect to city property. We are in communication all the time with stateside and county side law enforcement officials about what's going on throughout the community. So there is a fair bit of cooperation, but at the same time, our jurisdictions are different. Our ability to control, we can only control our own property, our own sphere of operation, and so that is our approach. But it also requires that we communicate, to the public about what we can do and about, regrettably, what we can't do.
So if someone has a concern or question, who would they contact in your office in terms of what their rights are or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, regrettably, we are not. You're talking about like what is the right of the community member?
Right.
We are looking to provide some kind of guidance, but crucially, like if you're looking to the city for legal advice, we're not your lawyer.
Can't do that.
And so there is that tension there. There are nonprofits, the MIRA, which is an important advocate for immigrants' rights. There are other organizations throughout the city that and the county and the community that do support immigrants' rights. And it's important that folks do what they can to educate themselves through those channels.
Okay, so at least we understand that you have limitations, but you support people in the way that you legally can.
That's right. To the full extent of our power to do so, we will do so. We well, these are terrible times, and we as a city, we respect the law, and we know that the rule of law is real, and we are going to play our part. But we also know that hanging together and standing up is real. The only way to counterbalance frankly the hate that's being perpetrated is through the truth, through common action, mutual aid, protest, and letting people know where we all stand.
Okay.
And that's together.
So after the break, we have a few more things to look at in terms of looking in how the year went and what we can look forward to in the next year.
Yeah.
Okay. We want to hear from you, so please email us questions to ctn@a2gov.org or tweet us at #CTN Ann Arbor. We're going to take a break now. We'll be coming back with more from Ward Talk and Mayor Taylor.
Hi, I'm Sarah Lanise from the City of Ann Arbor Clerk's Office. We want to show you how easy it is to get involved with your community by serving on a board or commission. The City of Ann Arbor appoints over 200 people to over 50 boards and commissions. From sustainability to transportation, we have boards and commissions for a wide range of policy interests. Most of them meet once a month virtually. You can start by visiting a2gov.legistar.com and clicking the Boards and Commissions tab. There you can read a short description about each board or commission. When you find one that interests you, click the Apply Now button in the top right-hand corner. You'll complete a short form including your contact information, background, and why you're interested in serving. Even if there's not a vacancy at the time, we'll keep your application for up to 2 years. Next, your application goes to City Council, where they may reach out to you to learn more or schedule an interview. Once the council makes their appointments, you'll be contacted on next steps and prepped for your first meeting. Serving is a great way to help shape our city's future. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact our office or visit the website for more information.
It's just a neighborhood that really has residents that care about each other. And the reality is for this work, our hope is to be able to do it in more communities throughout Ann Arbor. And certainly other organizations are seeing the work that we're doing, that what seemed completely unachievable 4 years ago is absolutely going to happen.
This geothermal project is within the context of a much broader initiative in Ann Arbor to support everyone that lives here in having a safer, more comfortable, and more energy efficient home.
You've seen some improvements already with respect to 820 in your neighborhood. You've seen new roofs, new appliances, home insulation, weatherization, and so forth. And these are just some of the things that we're working on to make sure that Bryant is a place that is renowned in the city.
We want you to love this neighborhood. We want your neighbors to be able to stay. No one should have to leave because they can't afford their bills. That's what we're trying to solve for, and the way we've designed this project with the geothermal system and the solar and the energy efficiency, we think we can cut bills by more than 50%, gas possibly up to 80%.
Hello, this is Bonnie Gabowitz for Ward Talk. I have a special guest today, Mayor Christopher Taylor. This is the end of January 2026, so it's a good time for us to look back at what this past year was like, what was accomplished, what were your challenges, and then maybe look forward to this year, 2026. I just want to mention that you have a lot of commissions and committees, and there are opportunities for citizens to get involved as volunteers. And when I looked on the website last night, I noticed there were quite a few openings. There are a lot of commission. I mean, so many. And I know over time they've evolved, since such as the Renters Commission is relatively recent.
It is.
And a couple of them, I know two of them merged together. But it's really a wonderful way to have citizens involved and help explore options and come up with solutions.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about Ann Arbor is that we've got so much expertise throughout the community. And so, what we've done at the city government is we have all these, a wide variety of boards and commissions, like of the ones you described. There's the Parks Commission, the Planning Commission, the Cable Commission, the Sustainability Commission, Transportation, Renters, and so forth. And so people who are community members who are interested in these areas, can apply to have a seat on if there are vacancies, and then work with city staff, work with other community members, and ultimately recommend changes to council or ratify things that council is thinking about, or more crucially that staff is thinking about. And then that way we broaden the area of expertise, we broaden the input, and I think it makes for a better city.
And it also gives a stable background of democracy as well, because you have citizens involved in getting information and considering strategies and that type of thing. So it really creates a much more dynamic community.
It really does. And one thing that we live in a distracted information environment, and while you always hear the facts here at CTN, not necessarily everywhere else. And so one of the particularly good aspects of boards and commissions that I really value is the ability of community members to interact with city staff. Our city staff is amazing. They have expertise and enthusiasm and skill, and it's just not seen enough. And so they are incredibly thoughtful about the challenges and opportunities we have here in the city. And if you're not on the inside, if you don't have that kind of interaction in a working kind of way, you don't really see it as a regular community member. And that's one of the super cool things about being on a board or commission. You see the staff working hard, and I think get a true and accurate and from my perspective, positive vibe about what's going on in City Hall and what kind of folks are here working for us. So it's really good.
Good plug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Staff.
And one of the other big topics for the past few years, but continuing, is how we use our land and how we house people. And I know there's controversy about having high, tall buildings and having the traffic affected and more bike lanes. So, what's your perspective on how we're going forward and meeting the challenges, yet keeping Ann Arbor having the special flavor that they have?
Yeah.
Because Ann Arbor is considered one of the best towns in the country.
Yeah, you'll never hear me say otherwise.
Yeah. So how do you balance the challenges with the problems that ensue?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know a couple of things. We know that Ann Arbor's growing. It's becoming more and more expensive, particularly on the housing side.
And that's why the Renters Commission really came into use.
That's exactly right.
Because they were looking at making sure that things were, were done respectfully and not,
Yeah, we're not able to control rents, but we can do things on the Renters Commission. I'll get to the land use plan in a second, but on the Renters Commission, we're able to eliminate junk fees, eliminate improper application, wait list fees, and so forth. We're able to obligate rental transparency, so there aren't you don't publicize a rent of X and then have hidden fees that are obligatory, which raise that hundreds of dollars. And so we were looking to make sure that people that we try to equalize the balance between power dynamic between landlords and tenants. On the land use side, we housing prices are going up. Rents have gone up 2.5 times the rate of inflation since the Great Recession. Housing prices 4 times, ordinary prices, and that means that we have economic segregation, increasing economic segregation in our city, and that means increasing racial segregation in our city because America. And that's because supply and demand is real. People want to live in the city of Ann Arbor, and that's not going to change. That is only going to accelerate because we do have a great community. And so unless we increase housing supply, or crucially, allow the increase of housing supply, then prices are going to continue to go up, and we're going to have continued negative consequences. People won't be able to age in place, won't be able to downsize. Divorcing couples won't be able to stay in town, and adult children can't move back. And so what we're doing with our comprehensive land use plan is we're trying to envision a community that has different kind of zoning laws, enabling more units built, particularly in the downtown and on the transit corridors, smaller units built in what are now currently single detached home neighborhoods and the like. We're hoping that this, envisioning that this, and planning that this change will have real important effects on affordability, like it's had in other jurisdictions. But at the same time, we're making sure that that we honor the streetscape. I mean, when you walk down a street in Ann Arbor, you're happy to be there. You like to be there. We know that it's improper to have buildings that are entirely out of scale. We need to make sure that our increases are sort of gentle, but that they're also persistent and widespread. We're trying to find that right balance. Quality of life is crucial, and I'm excited about our opportunity to maintain it.
And in terms of how people travel, especially in downtown, where we now have more bike lanes, we have taller buildings, we have more people coming in. Is there any vision for the next year as to whether that will continue or it will be adjusted in any way?
Yep.
Because I know, some people will say, well, it's just so hard to get to downtown, or it's hard to park, or whatever. What can be done about that?
Yeah, so a couple of different things. First, with increased people living downtown, you decrease the amount of transit into the downtown because people who are there are already living there. With respect to parking, we do have parking structures all over the place, and those are there's always capacity in a parking structure. But we also know that not everybody, particularly if you have mobility issues, it's not always the easiest thing. And so we're making sure that we have expanded the number of accessible, sort of tag-only spots throughout the downtown, so that people who really do need to drive and have to get pretty close to where they're going, that they will have access.
Yeah.
Disability issues are crucial to the city of Ann Arbor. We know that we're aging as a population. We also know that it's the right thing for any person.
And we have a commission on that.
We do. We have a disability commission. That's exactly right. And we're mixing disability. We're getting the commissions and staff. We've got a new disability coordinator who focuses almost exclusively on ADA issues to make sure that everything we do has disability on the list, to make sure that we get it right.
Okay, and in terms of A20, there's been a big push in energy efficiency. And this usually comes up every session. We're always looking to see, what's new or what's coming along. It's actually impressive that we have a large percentage of people who are trying to switch over to more energy efficient living. So tell us about that.
Sure. So we've got a lot of great things going on in the city, and you're exactly right. Like, people are really, I think, excited about our 820 program. With our, one thing that happened just in November 24, the voters authorized the creation of a sustainable energy utility. We're working hard to get that up off the ground. We are probably going to have our first sustainable energy utility pilot, live in 2026.
And just to mention, you
Yep.
can go online and get more information about, and actually sign up for information, right?
That's exactly right. We do love people coming to the website, signing up for the SEU, making sure that they're on. It's not a commitment, but we want you on the list so that when we're ready to roll out what our offerings to you as a customer will be, that we know who you are and you know who we are.
Right. And this is in no way to say we're not going to have DTE servicing us. It's just that you're looking to do whatever you can independently.
The SEU is exactly that, right. That is, it is independent of DTE. It overlays the existing utility, but it will enable. But when we get it off the ground, it will enable us to provide, reliable, resilient, 100% renewable energy, and we expect at prices that are lower or comparable to DTE's. Further, we're going to expand not just solar, but geothermal, and that's one thing that I'm particularly excited about. In our Bryant area, we do have a federal that we have 2 stages of federal grants. We're in the process of designing and ultimately planning to build a district geothermal system in our Bryant area, which will enable us to renewal, clean heating energy to homes in the Bryant district. It's really pretty cool.
And just to update,
Yeah.
Is this in any way affected by the federal government holding back funds? Does it affect us at all?
The short, unhappy answer is yes, of course. We do, from Biden era Inflation Reduction Act rebates and the like have all gone away. There were grants for sustainable energy projects that were previously available that have gone away. So, we've certainly taken a hit. At the same time, it's important to note that not all of our grants have been pulled back. Crucially, our geothermal grant, we have a $10 million grant from the Department of Energy, for which we're grateful, which will enable us to, be part of the build for that district geothermal system, which is going to, we expect over time, heat and cool 230 modest-sized homes in the Bryant area, the Bryant School, the Wheeler Maintenance Center, and a mental health facility at the site. It's going to be a remarkable thing.
I think this is one of the best kept secrets in the city.
Yeah,
It's
tell
just
everybody. It's going to be
amazing.
super cool.
Yeah, okay. And in the minute we have left, I'd love to have your perspective, having been mayor for so many years and seeing the national politics affecting local communities. What's your take personally on what it's been like?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a hard time for so many of us. It's been you have the whipsaw of first administration, then COVID, then a administration that's more interested in building people up rather than tearing people down, and now we're back to where we were in 2016, 2017. It takes a toll on the community. It takes a toll on people. It adds stress to folks' lives. Ann Arbor, we're a welcoming community. We know that everyone is important. We know that immigrants are central, and we value our diversity. That's crucial to who we are, and it's draining to have that be contrary to the federal government's directives, but also it's invigorating. It means that we need to stand up. We need to stand together. And we need to constantly reaffirm that that's the way we know is the right path. And I'm proud and pleased to see that folks are getting behind that all the time.
Okay, well, it's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Always.
And I wish you all the best in this year.
Thank you. You too.
Remember to join us for a new episode every month. We want to hear from you, so please email us at ctn@a2gov.org, attention, Ward Talk. You can also follow CTN and ask questions on Twitter at twitter.com/CTN in Arbor. We'll make sure to include your questions. To watch this and all of CTN's program, head online to youtube.com/CTN in Arbor. For War Talk, I'm Bonnie Gabowitz. Until next month.